There's something about the end of September. Something that's become a part of me now.
I take a swing at what Jim Beam and I'm like, wow, you know, it just lit me up.
You know, find a good knob, sit tight, keep calling, be persistent. That's the best way to do it.
I woke up the next morning and I was only halfway in the tent. This is
All the country we're looking at, I am surprised we haven't seen a moose. It's starting to look like a boar's nest in here. People will take you more seriously if you get that toilet paper out of your zipper though, Trevor. Just clean the pan, believe it or not. So what are you thinking? You think you're gonna propose to her when you get home?
Probably.
I look over, here's my buddy. He fell off of his log and he just laid there by the campfire.
You're gonna take all this big tip money and buy buy an engagement ring? Wolf sign all over the place, so we know they're around. That's the one you're after. Check him out. So we're gonna try to get to the top up there. It's gonna be a long shot, but you don't often get second chances at a bull like this. You spotted that. Nice job. Boy, do we have a lot of work ahead of us now. Just so you know, I was gonna pack that load, but I wanted to let you get a good photo op.
All right, thank you.
Medium rare. I love it. What do you think?
I like packing with Billy Molls.
Yeah, da boy. That's because we quit at 4 o'clock. Packing her up. Nooner. My next hunter is probably in base camp now. We're moving to a new spot. With the wolves around here, haven't been seeing much. Haven't seen any moose actually since Roger shot that wolf. Actually, the day before Roger shot that wolf. So hopefully we're headed to some greener pastures. One more moose hunt, and then my 2-month stint in the wilderness will be complete and I'll be headed home. So let's get her underway. Doug Kolterman, fellow cheesehead. He's gonna be my man for the next 10 days. Let's see how she shakes out. Here's my chariot. Time to move camp. I remember when I first got into bow hunting. It was my dream to shoot a Pope and Young buck, and it took me several years to do it. And after I shot that buck, I knew he was big enough, I knew I made a perfect hit, and it ran away. I was so excited for about 3 seconds. And all of a sudden, it hit me. Billy, so what? Your life is no different. And I knew there was more to hunting than that at that point, and I've been searching for it ever since. Good looking spot. Huge, huge river valley off behind. Jonah said he always sees moose in this lake in the evenings. set camp right up there in the timber. Over the backside of that knob's a huge river.
My dad came to me about 12 or 15 years ago with an article that was in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that I had told you about. And it was an article that featured you on the back page, and it was a picture of you sitting overlooking the Brooks Range in Alaska. And man, that just lit my fire again. It just reignited that. And I told my dad, I'm like, someday I want to hunt with that guy. I sold my business in 2019, and that's when I contacted you and said, hey, I'm really serious. Like, now I'm retired, and I can afford to take this time off and chase this dream of getting back to Alaska, and this promise I made to myself back the first time I was there. And so when you texted me and said you had this opening for this moose hunt, and I said I'm in, it was just an awesome excitement that I couldn't explain. And for one, being out in this land that's just untouched and untamed, and there's a certain element of I guess danger when you go on these trips that you don't know for sure what's going to happen. You could have really bad weather, you could have airplane problems, you could have grizzly attacks. There's just this certain element that of adventure going to Alaska that's just unexplainable. It's just an amazing feeling when you're going to Alaska, to this land that's bigger than anything you can imagine.
I think the biggest reason why I'm a better guide and like guiding more than I do hunting is because I've recognized the most valuable thing about hunting, at least for me, is to be able to share it with others. And I guess the ultimate of that is to be able to help them realize their dreams. For many of these guys, their childhood dreams. I didn't know Doug at all before this hunt. When I first met him, within like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, this is just a good, deeply sincere, genuine guy. Doug is organizing his gear. Kind of looks like we might get a flake or two of snow. Or a drop of rain. Looks like snow in the high country. The hunt begins tomorrow.
Between my junior and senior year, my buddy had you heard of this place called Quetico National Park in Canada? Have you ever heard of that place?
Yeah.
So he's like, you and I should go to Quetico National Park. So we loaded up my 1970 Chevy, put a canoe on top of it, put some Duluth packs in the back, and we went up to Quetico National Park.
Cool.
And my mom, I can't believe she let me go to this day. She had no idea what we were going to do for 10 days.
How old were you?
17.
That's pretty ballsy.
It was ballsy. I had no idea. So
what you were getting into?
We drive up to Ely, Minnesota, park my 70 Chevy, unload the canoe, put our packs in the canoe, and it was called Cache Bay. So we only took half of our meals that we needed in freeze-dried meals, mountain house stuff, and the rest we were counting on catching fish for the rest of our meals, and if we didn't catch, we were going hungry. So it was motivation to catch fish.
Yeah.
And so we got to this American Point. We had a canoe to a Canadian ranger station, and we get there, and this was in May, and the ranger said, boys, you guys are the first ones to get out here for the year, and he said, I got to raise new flags for the year. Can you help me take down the flags from last year? And we said, sure. So it was this big fulcrum flagpole. He pulls the pin on the flagpole, and the flagpole comes crashing down and hits the ground. He pulls off the two old flags, the Canadian flag and the Providence flag,
And he goes, here's a souvenir for each of you boys. So I got the Canadian flag. He clips on the new flags, and we had to start at the top end of the flagpole. And I was the tallest one, so my buddy was the shortest. He was at the front, the ranger's in the middle, and I'm at the end. And we start lifting the flagpole, and we get to about that, almost halfway point, and the flagpole's really heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So my buddy starts laughing, and then I start getting the gigs. Well, the ranger's like, come on, boys, push. we were laughing so hard, we couldn't. We let the pole go, and it hits the ground. And the ranger goes, boys, if you don't push this pole up, I'm going to put your balls in a vice grip. So we get pushed, and we get the flagpole up past the halfway point. It swings up. He puts the pin in. So then we go inside, and he's like, what'd you bring for food? And we're like, well, we brought this Mountain House. Well, they actually tax you on your food you bring into Canada. And then he asks us, he goes, did you boys bring any alcohol with you? And we're like, no. But yet we had a flask of Jim Beam, a quart flask. So, long story short, he sends us on our merry way. He gets our plan of action just in case we never came back, so they could come looking for us. We didn't have a GPS. They didn't have GPSs back then. We had a compass and a map. So we tracked our way in Canada, in Quetico National Park, through all these portages and lakes that we went through. We canoed in about 11 miles, I'd say, during the course of the trip, and then made our way back.
Right.
But we stopped at a falls. The first lake we canoed through, there was a nice, pretty falls. At the bottom, there's a big pool of water. And my buddy got a good fish on right away in a Rapala. And all of a sudden, boom, the line snaps. We're like, oh, man. So this must be a good fishing hole. So he lured up again. We keep casting. All of a sudden, boom, he gets another fish on. We reel it in. I net it. It was the same fish. The other Rapala that he lost was hanging on the other side of his mouth.
No kidding.
It was a big pike, and we towed that along behind the canoe. We ate that for dinner the first night. But it was a great experience. I mean, that's what really gave me my love for the outdoors, was that trip. And
It's like Tom Sawyer stuff, man.
It was. Yeah. It was phenomenal. It was, to this day, when I came back from that trip, I talked to my mom before she died, and I go, how did you ever let me go on that? I was the most inexperienced outdoorsman. I had no clue what
she probably didn't either.
She had no idea. She goes, I thought you were going up to a lake cabin or something in Canada, and so But it was just a great trip. It's a memory that I'll never forget. I'll have to show you some pictures. I actually got pictures on my phone that I sent to my buddy, because when my mom passed away, I was digging through all my old stuff in her basement, and I found the actual photo album from that trip. So I'll show you the pictures.
That's an adventure. There's hunting, there's fishing, and then there's adventure.
Yes.
And this is like a hunting, fishing adventure, or hunting adventure. This is.
Yep.
But I think that's what I'm addicted to, is more the adventure. The hunting's the vehicle by which you get it. Yours, that was a fishing adventure. But at 17, I could see how you'd get that taste of it and you'd be hooked.
Right. So it was just phenomenal. And then on our second night of canoeing, we built the campfire. We're sitting around the campfire, and my buddy, he's like, hey Doug, should we break out that flask of Jim Beam? And I'm like, and I really didn't, I drank some beer in high school, but never drank hard liquor. And let's take a couple of swigs of that, right? So we're sitting around this campfire on this log, and I take a swig of Jim Beam, and I'm like, wow, it just lit me up. And then we're getting a little tipsy out there, and he's like, you want a dip? And he pulls out some Kodiak Chew.
Nice.
So I take a dip of that. Well, he didn't tell me don't swallow. So I'm drinking Jim Beam, swallowing the dip juice.
You're a real man.
Well, last thing I remember is me falling backwards off the log and him laughing. I woke up the next morning. I was only halfway in the tent, and this is May in Canada. I look around to get my bearings where I'm at. I look over. Here's my buddy. He fell off of his log, and he just laid there by the campfire all night long. So that's the first time I tried tobacco, and the last time I tried tobacco. Yeah. That was it. I never ever had a piece of tobacco, smoke of tobacco ever again. I was done. So it was a lesson hard learned, but glad I learned it.
Those were the days when everybody learned stuff the hard way.
way.
It wasn't just parents, no, don't do that, no, don't do that,
Right.
no, don't do that. And then you get to be 21 and then you go out and try everything, you know?
So, but yeah, it was
First morning, 6:40. We're gonna glass the lake for 10-15 minutes, call a little bit, then climb the hill behind us. Set there for the day.
I went up there with the mindset of, again, that harvesting an animal is just going to be a bonus to the entire adventure. So if I came home without an animal, so be it. I was totally fine with that, totally willing to accept that. If I did take an animal, I wanted it to be a mature bull. I wanted it to be something that I could proudly hang on the wall, and not so much from it being a, potential Boone and Crockett type thing, but more from the aspect that, hey, we hunted hard. We perhaps, could have passed up some other bulls that were of lesser age, lesser maturity, to hunt this larger animal and have the adventure. So basically the thought process was that I'm willing to accept if I don't come home with anything, but if we are able to harvest a trophy bull, then, it's just that additional bonus that I'd be talking about.
I recognize Doug just has a firm grasp of the fact that this hunt was for him, for nobody else. His intention was to experience as much as he possibly could on an Alaska moose hunt and savor every second of it. As a trophy hunter, you've got to be ready to fail. Nobody likes to be the one guy in camp, oh, how big of a bull did you get? Oh, I got a 50-incher. Oh, I got a 65er. What'd you get? I didn't get one. Nobody likes to be that guy. But if you're going to be a trophy hunter, you've got to be willing to do that. You are going against the wisest, oldest animals in nature, and you're matching wits with them. You're going to fail, but here's the thing, is you're going to learn more along the way. Trophy hunting is going to cause you extra grief and extra frustration and trials, but in the long haul, it's worth it. We're calling up at this high elevation so we can call moose from the lakeside and this backside. And so we're going to do that consistently every day. Any moose that's in the area knows that lake is a magnet. There's moose there. Regularly they're feeding in that lake. So any moose that hears our calling, he's probably going to go to that lake because there's going to be moose there, activity around that area. So what'll happen a lot of times in this kind of a scenario is you'll be calling, and all of a sudden, one morning, there's a bull, like within a quarter mile of the area you're calling. That's rarely an accident. Those bulls know that the cows are usually going to hang in the same area. So the bull will be 4 or 5 miles away, and he'll hear calling, and we might, unbeknownst to us, he'll hear it, and then he'll come and he'll know exactly where it is. He'll come into that area and he'll just sit and wait, maybe for 12 hours. I would say 24 hours would be a long time that he'll go into that area and wait, but he'll get in that area and investigate. So right now, the first cows are probably getting close to coming into estrus, 15th of September. Probably just still a hair early, but definitely the rut's really heating up. We haven't seen any moose yet, but in this spot outside of the lake, we'll probably see some cows on the lake, I'm sure. But most of the moose that we're going to be seeing moving around these valleys, in and out of the timber, are going to be bulls. Right now we're in the cruising phase, so that pre-rut, this is just, should be perfect timing. If we can get good weather, I think we'll take a good bull. That's where we were. The lake's right over there. Still got a pretty commanding view of the valley. Got an old mining trail. This canyon. Pretty good rain. We hiked up here early. It's about 10:30. Hiked up here so we didn't get soaking wet through the brush. Just a matter of time. This is the best way to hunt moose this time of year, area like this. But the thing is we might go 4 or 5 days and we won't see anything. And one's instinct is to change, to do something different, but that's where experience comes in. After 20 years of doing this, you just realize, you slowly learn just to be consistent, to be patient, find a good knob, sit tight, keep calling, be persistent. That's the best way to do it. So, might take 10 days, might take 11. Hopefully it doesn't take 12, because if it takes 12, the season's over. So, we'll just be diligent, be consistent, stick with it, it'll come together.
Whatever it takes.
What are you thinking so far, Doug?
Just about what I expected. Just a beautiful piece of country, God's country, and kind of the weather I expected with cool and rain, and just enjoying every step of the way so far. So hopefully we get in some moose here eventually, and we'll just be persistent and stay at it.
Perfect. Sooner or later, one of them big old stinky masses of fur and meat and antlers will come strutting through. 2 o'clock in moose country. I haven't seen a moose yet. It's raining and it's cold. That means one thing. Nap time. Don't wake me unless you're 70 inches.
10-4.
Or 8-foot bear. About to kill you. Pretty exciting conclusion to the end of your first day of moose hunting.
Just socked in with fog. Yep.
You would think eventually a moose would get lost and come through here.
I think so. I think so.
I think they must have went to some protest rally or something.
Right.
They're all burning some buildings down or something. Now I wouldn't say there's a ton of moose sign, but I mean, there's a lot of moose sign on that lake. Much of it is old, but there's some fresh moose scat up here. There's moose around, there's no doubt. I mean, it's only been a day and a half, but all the country we're looking at, I am surprised we haven't seen a moose. Not ideal conditions necessarily, but I had higher hopes than this, that's for sure. But it only takes one. We got a good crossing here. This lake sits at the head of about we're right at the head of about a 15-mile drainage, maybe 20. And then obviously we got a pretty low saddle into that big river drainage. And that river drainage doesn't really look like great moose country per se, but it's a nice low pass. Definitely got a feed magnet right where we're camped, so we'll give her a couple more days and see what happens. We'll stay diligent, keep calling, and stay on point. Hopefully we get some good weather and a little bit of luck. on the board. Cold and calm. That's the one you're after. Check him out. See how his palms go out?
I see some pretty good palms.
There's mass.
Pretty good palms, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right up.
I don't know how to judge moose, but it looks pretty good to me.
I went over, found a big spruce tree, whacked it 20 times over the course of 15 minutes. Well, what's he doing?
I actually lost him in the timber. He turned his head when you called. It took him a little while, but he turned his head.
Yep.
And then he came downhill a little more, but he disappeared in the timber. I can't find him right now.
Heading this way, though.
Heading this way.
Yeah.
This way. Heading downhill.
Maybe we'll climb up to the top, set up shop, and
Keep watching him.
that's the bull you're looking for.
That's a good bull.
Optimism is a lot higher this morning than it was last night. That's where he was right there. But anything can happen, but he's a big old bull. He's not going to rush into anything. So tomorrow morning's probably going to be our best bet, but obviously we're going to be keeping an eye out on him. And if he comes in here down low or we figure we can make a play, better believe if we figure we can get a crack at him, we'll be going for it. Well, we relocated this bull. We climbed back up to our glass and knob. Right on the skyline there. He hasn't shrunk any, that's for sure. Yeah, I think maybe at the lower part of the palm, or kind of right in maybe between the brow palm. A lot of times they drop at the brow too. His right side, he's got a brow tine, or a drop tine rather. So where we saw him first thing this morning, Doug spotted him. And then he started working down, and now we just relocated him right there. So he's a little bit closer, but not much. Still a little.
Just turned his head for me. Gave me a little bit of a display of his brow tines. He's a beauty.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't have a ton of brow tines, but he's a whopper. Big, long palms, wide palms. He's definitely hearing our calls. I gave one more call and took about 10 seconds, and he looked right at us, so he knows we're here. On a big bull like that, I don't think you want to call too much. If he knows we're here, when he's ready, he'll come check it out. And so, like I was telling Doug, a big bull like that, he's never lost. He's smart. He's old. He's at least 10 years old. Moose will live into being their late teens, 20 years old. So what these big old bulls will often do is they know we're here. There's a reason why he's in the high country. He's listening. He's just scoping out the lay of the land. He's keeping track of where the younger bulls have their harems built. He's not going to expend his energy guarding them, keeping them. He's going to lay low by himself in the high country, just kind of patrolling his territory. He knows where the cows are going to be, where they're going to rut. He knows all the hot spots in this area, the feeding areas, the areas that the moose frequent. So he's going to cruise around, check all those. The lake that we're camped by is one of those areas. So chances are good he's going to come into this territory during the night. And that's bad for us because he might cut our scent and then he'll leave. So that's
in all honesty, that's probably what'll happen. But, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's far from a done deal, but it's good to be on his trail, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. Good to see some big bull, you know. Good to see him.
Yeah.
He's a dandy.
And that's what makes, obviously, that's what makes trophy hunting more difficult, but so alluring, is like, I was just telling Doug, it's like maybe the name of a story or a video is He's Never Lost. It's like, all right, we've got to match wits with him, and we probably have to get extremely lucky for it to happen. But it's like, what a challenge. That's where, like, it gets all consuming. But 1 out of 10 times, if you can throw it together and shoot a bull like that, now a younger bull, 55, maybe a 60-incher, you know, some of them can be pretty smart, but they're just not as experienced. The likelihood of a 50-inch bull that far away coming in yet this morning is actually fairly decent, probably 25%. But you've got to get the timing exactly right. If you're going to get a bull of that caliber to come marching right into a call, they just don't do it. They're smarter than that. Let's say having them in your sights, squeezing the trigger and killing the animal is a 10. Or let's say a 100. On a scale of 1 to 100, how exciting is this? Just seeing him, just knowing that he's there.
Just seeing him, knowing that he's there is about an 85.
It is.
It's pretty thrilling to see a big bull like that.
And he knows we're here. You know, he thinks, all right, there's a bull raking brush over there, and he's got a cow with him. So, you know, this bull will be here.
Yeah.
He's gonna, one way or another, he's gonna come to this country. He's going to smell us, or we're going to shoot him, or he's going to find no moose here, but he's going to come here. There's no doubt about it. So the anticipation and the possibility of it, pretty darn cool. And what I've found with bulls like this in this high country like this anyway, probably the same in maybe any country, but when you're hunting high, relatively open country, a lot of times you'll see moose like this at far distances, is when they're working their circuit, it seems like every 4 to 5 days you have a good chance of seeing him again. So if he disappears and you don't see him for several days, chances are he probably did leave, but until he gets a harem, there's a pretty decent chance that he'll come back. So, but usually for a big bull like that, it's not until after the 20th of September. Here we are at the 17th, so it's heating up. But big, 65, I think this one's right at 65, he's not 70. Big bull like that, they really don't start getting too excited till about the 20th, into that 20th to 25th. That's usually when those big bulls, they throw caution into the wind and they start getting after it. So we're hoping he makes a mistake and we do things right, and I don't poop my pants. The reason why we're not going after him now, I think we'd have a pretty decent chance of getting over there and killing him. Actually, I think we'd have a good chance. If there was a way that we could land closer to him, probably do it. But as it stands right now, it'd be a 3.5 mile pack to get him out. That's too far. Moose are amazing at pinpointing your calling location. Unbelievably good. Back up on the hill. I'm walking down over here. I'm going to start calling again. We have better visibility up there. So I'm going to walk 300-400 yards and call. Because I want him to, he'll know exactly where we're calling from. And so I want that location in his mind as to where we are to be in a good position where we could ambush him. Back up there, there's a lot of timber, not nearly as good for us. So if he is going to come, which we'd have to be dang lucky, I want him to come down here. So that's what I'm gonna go do. Doug's keeping an eye on him. I'll go call a bunch to where I know he'll hear me, and see what shakes out. It's gonna be overcast and it's cold. I'm guessing we're gonna get some snow or some rain here this afternoon by the feel of it. It's an east wind, which is usually fairly dry, but I don't know, it feels kind of damp to me. So I'm a mile from that ridge. And we're an easy mile from the lake from where I'm at right now. And he's over a mile from that ridge to the bowl. So the wind is pretty much right at our backs, right towards him. But I know you don't often get a second chance at a bull like this. I don't know, we'll see what he does. But if he really commits down to this bottom, depending what the weather's looking like rain to me, but if he went down into this bottom, we'd maybe get over to that ridge and try to draw him up to that bald ridge. Not necessarily that he's going to come right to the ridge, but try to draw him up out of that bottom. Because there's a good chance we won't be able to find him. He'll bed somewhere where we won't see him. But I don't want to overcommit. Go in there at dark, because a lot of times a big old bull like that, they won't move very early at night. Typically, anywhere from, it's getting dark about 9:30. A lot of times he'll stay bedded till after 8 o'clock. Doesn't give you a lot of time to maneuver, but in the mornings they usually move around till about noon, so it's light enough to shoot 6:45. But a lot of factors, a lot of things to consider, but you get a good opportunity on an old bull like this. You don't want to give him the opportunity to come in, scope out your turf during the night, because he'll smell you, and a lot of times you won't see him again. We'll see what Dougie has to say. Yeah, we're getting snow up in the high country already. Wind switching out of the north a little bit, I think.
Covered a lot of ground down that hill. Disappeared into the valley.
He did.
So I can't see right now. He's down below this hillside, this first hillside.
Yes.
He's in the valley right now, but he was coming this way, shading a little bit to the left. But in general, his general direction was this way. Good bull, though. I didn't zoom. I followed your direction. I didn't zoom in, but I can see he's a real good bull.
Yeah. Well, he definitely heard me calling again, and he knows we're in the area. I got a half a mind cruising across here, setting up right there, try to relocate him and see what he does. But yeah, we're getting snow behind us already, so it's gonna be a wet one. We'll have a little powwow here and figure out what we want to do.
You were kind of just playing in your mind, like, and verbally, what could happen if we wait on this bull? What can happen if we go after it? And you're kind of balancing those things in your mind, I could tell. And then all of a sudden, it was like the switch came on. And I think you had worked it out in your head that our best chance of getting this bull was to go after it now. And I just remember the look in your face when you looked at me and you're like, let's go.
But I say, I'm gonna go take a poop, and then we saddle up and ride.
Sounds like a plan to me.
So that bull was 2.2 miles away where we last saw him. So the wind seems to be switching more northerly. So I think we're gonna grade up get up over in there, try to relocate them, obviously, and hope we can make something happen.
Experience the beauty, vastness, the unforgiveness,
Welcome to Alaska.
and the thrill of the Alaskan wilderness firsthand. Log on to BillyMollsAdventures.com and request for Billy to personally help you select your own Alaskan adventure. Here, you'll also find information on hosting Billy as a public speaker for your next corporate event, Christian outreach, or conservation organization. Log on today and live the adventure.
For better or worse, you ready?
Let's go get him, Billy.
10:13. We're gonna go to the bottom, see what the wind's doing in this canyon, assuming that the wind should be doing the same thing in that other canyon. There's half a chance that this bull will work up over in this stuff today. So we're gonna, like this morning, he went down into that bottom. It's a fair-sized canyon. But there's a good chance that he'll be moving until noon. So we're gonna try to get to the top up there, hopefully in 50 minutes, so shortly after 11 o'clock. Thinking it'll take us less than an hour. So if we can get there at 11:15, and we'll try to get a good vantage point. Maybe we'll get lucky and he'll still be on his feet. We can catch him moving. That's ideal, but just take it one step at a time. First things first, we'll see if we're getting an uphill thermal at the bottom of this canyon. If we do, we're going for it. It's going to be a long shot, but you don't often get second chances at a bull like this. So we're about 500 from the top. Wind is good. We're pushing it as hard as we can because we're hoping that he'll still be on his feet when we get up to the top. Then we'll have a chance at maybe moving in on him or seeing where he beds.
I remember at times when you were going up that hill and you weren't looking back for me, and I was falling behind a couple hundred yards, and I was giving her, and I'm like, man, this guy's just a billy goat climbing this mountain. And but I, like you told me, like, look at the next bush, make that your goal, and keep going and keep trekking. And so I remember when we got to the top of that hill, I was pretty exhausted and pretty tired out. But the excitement, the adrenaline was carrying me for sure. And then we crested and we started going to the south. And that's when I just took that one step to the right to look over the edge so I could see some at the bottom of the hill. And I saw just the right palm of an antler. And that's where, hey, Bill.
him again. Right in the shoulder. Reload. Short stroked it. You hit him good. Relax. Relax. Pound him in the shoulder. Take your time. Hit him in the neck, shoulder. He's not going anywhere. It's a good bull. He's laying pretty flat. Do you have any more bullets on you?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's going down, but yep, he's going down. We put her together, man. We got a lot of work ahead of us.
Here's to Grandpa Molls, man.
Oh man, thank you. You said you wanted to dedicate this to my grandpa after reading that chapter in my book?
Absolutely. Here's to Grandpa Molls, because if it were for Grandpa Molls, neither you would be here, nor would I, man.
No.
Oh my God.
Can
Billy,
you
he's a
believe we
beauty.
got him? Oh man, that was.
Beauty.
It couldn't have worked out any better. It's about the way I figured it'd be. He's gonna be on this side of the drainage when we get over here. You spot it, man. Nice job. I walked right past him. Doug's like, he's right down there. We were just getting up here to glass, and Doug's like down. Doug didn't get overly excited. Most hunters, they get like crazy excited. He's like, he's right down there. It's like, really? Oh man, he had no clue we were there. To get a big bull like that. He would have came there last night, but it was going to be dicey.
Good sneak on him, Billy. Like
11 o'clock.
when we were up like 400 or 420 yards, I was just from my breathing from coming up on a long walk up the hill.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get steady on it. I didn't feel comfortable.
Perfect.
You called it to move in closer. It was awesome.
These alders made perfect cover for
Yeah,
us.
this willow just made a nice sneak on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Awesome, man.
Amazing. God's country is just amazing.
His palms they just lay flat, they just lay out.
You know, and not only thanks to Grandpa Molls, but thanks to God for letting you and I come together.
Yes.
This happened.
That was after 2 days of not seeing a bull. Yeah, pretty darn happy to get him. Sweet. Awesome. Awesome. Well, should we grab your pack, go take a look at him?
Let's do that.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Oh man. I'm pretty sure you killed him with the first one. He was just spinning in circles. He wasn't going far, but
I saw one shot was high and back. I think that was my second shot. I saw some blood pouring out.
Oh.
High and back, but I think the first shot was right on the nuts there. So.
yeah. Let's turn your scope down to low, because now we're bear hunting, and then load the magazine right away.
So when I was eyeing him up in the scope, all I focused on was the hair in the kill zone. I did not want to look at that rack. I said, don't look at the rack, don't look at the rack.
Yeah, I mean, we had pretty good wind, you know, to cover our, our scent was good and our noise was good, but, you know, it's just like you got that set up ambush, and he's in the open to where if, you know, you miss or he does go, he's in the wide open, you know what I mean? We had him, you know, no matter which direction he went.
Got a little nervous when we got to the top of the backside of this hill. The wind was seeming to cut this way, but you're exactly right. As we got to the top,
Yep.
it was cutting to the south, or to the north.
Yep.
So,
Yep, because it's coming up on both
Yeah,
sides.
call
Yeah,
it.
that's kind of, until you really see that a lot and know you can trust it, it's hard to believe it's going to happen.
I was getting a little nervous, to be honest, but I totally trusted your experience.
Yeah, that was, the wind wasn't, it was pretty good, but I mean, it wasn't ideal. It worked out, but it wasn't one of those no-brainers. You always like to have the wind direction and the thermals the same direction, but
Man, it worked out. What did I say we were gonna call this chapter? He's never lost.
Never lost.
Yeah. Well, we got lucky on him, because I've lost against lots of moose to know that we're probably not going to get another chance, or at least that's kind of what I figured.
I called the percentage we were getting this morning. What was it, 1%, I think?
1% of him coming in. Yeah. And I figured 10% of us shooting him tomorrow. And as long as he seemed to be heading into striking range today, we had the weather, we better go for it. But boy, do we have a lot of work ahead of us now. I don't know how we're gonna, I think we're gonna end up probably packing him to that mountain. So I'm gonna call Jonah as soon as we get down here and drop our packs. Hopefully he'll be able to fly in today, figure out the best place to land, and get some packers in here to help us. Because we are in for some serious labor. Yeah, and feel that wind down here now. Perfect. Swooping right up into the canyon. Yeah, and that's kind of, I figured he was either going to follow this line of timber, and my guess is he was either going to follow that line of timber or that line of timber. Yep, he probably more or less came straight through here. He's just kind of feeding his way along. Well, good news is he doesn't strike me as being huge body yet, but he'll probably grow. Oh boy, oh boy. He's got he's growing. Yeah, he's got those pot hooks. Yep, there's that hook, that left drop tine. He's got big palms, big palms. Boy, he looks like he's like emaciated. He looks kind of skinny, bodied. You know, look at his bone. I mean, his shoulder.
Yeah, maybe rut rubbing.
I'm kind of surprised how long of a dewlap he has. Yeah, look at his neck. Boy, his neck is swollen. Feel that. That is a wide palm. We're gonna have to try to dig out those antlers somehow. Oh, thank you, Lord, huh? Life's pretty good, man.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Grandpa Molls, and thank you, Billy. It's a trophy of a lifetime. Wow.
Well, thank you, Doug, for coming out here last second, man.
It was meant to be, you know, like just like kind of everything fell into place with you and I, and man, what a fantastic hunt. Started real slow with 2 days of a lot of glassing, and didn't see a single moose till this morning, and man, all of a sudden you know, we picked up this guy, and you looked at it and right away you knew that this was a bull we were going to chase, and you called it, so beautiful. Wow. Wow. Wow.
He's got nice big palms. Yeah. Yep, we saw that drop tine from a long ways away, and I couldn't see it from up above. That's why I was like, are we sure it's the same one? Because I thought I could see that easy. And then he had a big dewlap, which is rare for big old bulls.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I was a little bit concerned, and I saw those big wide palms. I'm like, that's got to be him. Yeah. Yep, and then I noticed that one when he's close.
Yeah, he's got one that's busted up here a little bit. It's cooler, narrowed up. Wow.
Sweet. We got a beautiful day. A little bit of brush handy to put the meat up, so that'll be nice.
Wow.
Sweet. I'm gonna text.
Thank you, God.
Yes, I'm gonna text Jonah right away, and maybe we can get a packer in here today, and Jonah can find out where to land.
Billy and I thought an elk was a big animal. Holy cow.
Yeah, I think he's kind of down in a hole there. So, but look at those long legs, man. They're made for this tundra, aren't they?
Unbelievable size of that. Wow. I'm just overwhelmed. Wow. Just incredible animal. What a great creature.
Let the work begin. Yeah. Probably the easiest thing is going to be to dig those antlers out.
Okay.
Pull it out this way. Yep.
All right, let me get a handle here
Maybe
somehow.
probably grab that hook right there. Okay, holy sheesh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Where are we going? 3. Push it like that. That's probably the best way. Oh yeah, probably be busting a tine. Don't want to do. You don't think we want to do that? You don't think? Boy, he's got wide palms.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you're good.
He's
Hooking
already.
a root, probably. Yeah. Watch your nuts there. we don't want to start it off.
I'm done having kids anyhow, Billy.
I need you to help me. Okay, what? I don't know where we're going. Yeah. We're stuck in another tine here. But maybe there's a long tine. Right here it is. She's buried in there. Maybe let's do this. Here, you grab, I'll grab under the nose. You lift right there, and we'll just try to lift it up.
Lifting.
1, 2. Woo.
Oh, man. Wow, Billy.
Yeah, baby. Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's him.
Wow.
He's wide.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Is that pretty rare, that drop we were looking at?
Yeah, I mean, when they get that age, it's relatively common. I mean, it's more common than a drop tine on a whitetail, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got big palms.
How old do you think he is?
Over 10.
Yeah. Wow.
I would say, yeah, he's probably 12, maybe 4. I mean, somewhere between 10 and 14 would just be my guess. But
yeah.
Look at that neck on him.
Yeah.
Feel it. Feel how it just swollen. And it's big all the way up to his ears.
Oh. Yeah. Wow. I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, it's just a beautiful animal. Beautiful, gorgeous animal. Wow.
And just think, 8 o'clock this morning, 3.5 hours. I mean, how fast did it change? You know, the outlook. We didn't see any moose in 2 days, and I mean, we had decent conditions.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said at the beginning, you know, we'll just sit here and we'll just call and call and call. Eventually, something will move. We'll get the right bull. I mean, it doesn't always work, but I mean, that's about the only way to approach it. And
talked about
it worked.
Patience and just sticking with the plan, and we did exactly that. And boy, every step along the way, though, Billy, I got to shout out to you that you called a lot of stuff on this hunt so far. Everything from the weather. One day we're sitting there and you said, we better set that tarp up, and it's going to be raining a little bit. And so we set that tarp up, and sure enough, and then I commented to you, I said, gosh, I didn't know you were a meteorologist too. And then,
well, I don't like being wet. I'm a wuss.
And then you called, you called the patience thing. You called the wind on our stalk through the hills here. You called the thermals. You said, you know, the mountain air is going to be moving different down in the valley than it is up at the top where we were. And you just called a lot out on this. And I really appreciate all your experience that you brought with on this trip, and just did an outstanding job guiding this thing. We've had a heck of a lot of fun on this trip, and this is just a outstanding reward for kind of a compilation of all your efforts of guiding through the years, and for Grandpa Molls, you know, telling you that you should come to Alaska as a young man, and kind of dedicated this hunt to him, and you know, without him, perhaps you wouldn't have been here, and certainly then I would not have been here. So it's just we have many blessings here, and God has richly blessed both you and I, and let us harvest this just great Alaskan animal. Wow.
Dang. I need you to write some of my speeches. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed.
You know, you're right. You know, I had like an opportunity to shoot a wolf a couple of days ago, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really think about it until after the wolf ran away. I was like, man, I could have shot that thing. Because this area you don't need any tags, and you know, I've just for 23 years I've never, you know, I've never bought a tag, and so it just didn't really dawn on me until this wolf ran away, and I was like, it was a young one for one. Like, I don't even think I probably would have shot it, even if I would thought of it earlier, because you know what, it's more rewarding for me to take my 20 years of experience and bless somebody else with it. Yeah. That means way more. And the fact that you recognize without your grandpa, I wouldn't be, or my grandpa, I wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't even be here. I think that's a testament to the power when we give of ourselves and be true to ourselves and be who we are, and not just like conform to the world and just be a rat in the wheel, a mouse in a wheel. Like I was telling about my grandpa, he always did things his own way, and that's what inspired me. I didn't necessarily, to some degree, I tried to emulate my grandpa in a lot of ways, but he gave me the courage and the boldness to try to seek my own path and to not look at what other people are doing, just do what I felt is right. And as a result, I'm able to make guys like you make your dreams a reality. And this right here is my trophy. You know, not the animal, but I mean the fact that you're here with it. Me sitting here with you, and to watch you, to shake your hand and watch you fly home, you know, and it's pretty darn sweet when everything works out like it did today. Like everything that I said was going to happen. Back in the old days, that didn't, for one thing, I didn't make too many bold predictions, but even now, it doesn't always work out that way. But each year, I get a little bit better, you know, and so it's like, it makes me still it keeps me wanting to come out and do this. As a hunter, I would have retired from this a long time ago, but as a guide, to get people like you out here to be able to like make their dreams come true, it keeps me young, keeps me doing it. So I think as long as you're living your life for other people, life's way sweeter. If we can forget about ourselves and live for other people, life's always better.
So thank you for all you've done on this hunt, and it's just a real blessing to be able to come out here and harvest an animal like this.
It is, and just to see it, witness it, and, you know, just be in the country, and you know, we were talking about the sun rising and the fog this morning on the lake, and hearing the loons, and you know, and just figuring hopefully our opportunity will come, and it did. Wow. And we got lucky. That's what we said this morning, like to shoot this guy, he's been hunted before, and he's never lost. And so you gotta have your stuff together and get lucky to shoot a bull like this. I've been whooped by lots of bulls at this size. That's why we got this one. That's the only reason. I've had lots of bulls this size do just like this one did, and they never come in. You know, you think, oh, maybe he'll come in tonight. No, or like this evening. He won't come in this evening. He'll come in the middle of the night, and you'll see his tracks around your camp or some trail, and you'll cut fresh tracks. That's the 65-inch bull that's never lost before. He knows how to win, and I'm sure that's what this one was going to do. But oh man, he's a beauty.
Just a beauty. Unbelievable. Unreal.
If you don't stink like a moose when you're done skinning one, you ain't doing it right. So we're gonna pack her up, and I'm gonna finish cape this, and we'll probably hold tight. Hopefully we can get some packers in here to give us a hand.
Yeah, another thing my good buddy Ross told me before I left for the trip, he said, there's no way in hell Billy will let you shoot a moose more than a mile from camp. So, because he had been up there hunting before, and he knew what the terrain was like and how difficult it is to pack a moose out and how much meat you have. So I had that in my mind, and then all of a sudden here we are. When you said let's go, I'm thinking we're way outside of this mile range, and we're gonna go after this guy. So yeah, it was a bit of a concern to me, to be honest. And we dropped it, and I realized how far we were from camp. I was thinking, man, this is going to be a challenge to get this thing back.
Hopefully Jonah tomorrow he'll check out. He told me he could land on that hill, or he's 99% he could land on that hill. That was kind of what we were basing the fact that we shot this moose over here on, because it's 1.2 easy straight shot to that hill versus now we've got 1.7 by way of the Crow roundabout 2+. So we're in for a party. We're gonna sleep good tonight. The back straps will taste all the better. See, I fed these boys last time on our last hunt really good. I made them all the moose tenderloin they could eat when we got done. So you gotta take care of these guys.
Definitely I heard I was packing for Billy.
Definitely partake in that.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
7 o'clock. Beats doing this at 9 o'clock tonight, building a fire. I already had plans that we were gonna break into the mine, head down to the mine tonight, spend the night, because I didn't figure we'd be shooting them this early. You need a hand loading it, or are you all over it?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Told you he's a moose.
What was your quote earlier in the day, Billy? About loading a backpack? You remember that?
What?
I was going to offer to help you load your backpack.
Oh.
You said you had some quote. It was fantastic.
Oh.
About loading a backpack.
I said helping another guy strap on a backpack is like, what did I say?
I'll think of it. It was funny though.
When another guy is loading a backpack, it's like watching your kid go off to school. You gotta just let them go, man. If they can't make it out the driveway, they're not gonna make it.
That's right.
So the rain quit for us, and so hopefully we'll make her back before dark, and yeah, we're off and running. You ready for this?
Ready.
Let's do her. Plan is we're just gonna leave Doug's rifle at the top of the hill. Trevor's got a pistol. What do you got, Trevor? 10 mil?
10 mil.
I got a 44, so we'll be safe there. We'll get back to camp, and then when we come back tomorrow, we'll have that rifle right handy to whack some wolves and some bears.
Great to see the lake, Billy.
Yes.
Happy man.
Well, is the hiking over here easier than you thought from the kill? It's easier than I thought, to be honest.
I don't know, Billy. You might argue with me on that one.
I thought it was gonna feel a lot longer. Of course, 3 trips in tomorrow, we'll see what I'm saying. In the pouring down rain. And I'm not nearly as heavy as Trevor. But that lake's a pretty sweet sight. Just a few drops, rain falling is all. Basically dry. That's sweet. If you try to do long treks, heavy packs like this, the rain gear, you just increase your energy output by about 25% and your misery by about 100%. All right, well, we'll hang some of this meat in the pole, get some supper. Man, I'd have had that thing dropped on my back twice. That's why that thing ain't fitting right. You got it twisted here. I thought that looked kind of jacked up.
Yeah, I'm feeling it on my right shoulder.
Yeah, it's
Kitty
twisted.
wampus a little bit.
Yeah, chicken pesto pasta sounds great. Is there one for you?
Oh,
If there's not, you can certainly have it if you want to try that flavor.
I like
doesn't
just about
matter.
everything, so it doesn't matter to
Yeah,
me.
it doesn't matter to me either.
3 bean chili. Tomorrow it'll be about 3 million beans. Life don't get any better than this. Boiling wieners, tons of freeze dried.
Moose meat hanging.
Yeah. Trevor and I are busting Doug's chops. He's a, gotta get so I can see it. He is a, no alcohol's even involved. You're a Mike Rowe and Lance Armstrong love child.
Yeah.
The vodka comes out when the moose is packed out. Then look out.
Right.
Oh, you should have been down there when I had to teach Doug how to put a game bag over a piece of meat. I said, I know why you have 3 kids, Doug.
Yeah. Second time I got my chops busted today, my Billy.
Brand new waterproof
Solar charger.
Oh yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's good to go.
I think that means that it's fully charged. We are getting ready to pack moose meat. 100-pound, Trevor will be 150-pound. Loads of moose meat through some swamps today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God moose season is only 21 days here instead of 30 like in some areas. Smart guys go where the season's only 11 days long. How we feeling, Duggar?
Pretty good.
Good. So yesterday we went up and over the peak. Now we're gonna kind of grade up over that ridge. Let everybody know we were here. Probably some pretty sweet mercury in this water from the gold mining days. It doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, unless it kills you. One of these does not look like the other. Moose hunting in Alaska sure is romantic, isn't it?
Sure is, Billy.
We're just slogging it out. Climbed up the hill, got our first load, headed to that saddle, and camped right over there. I think this is the route. Good firm going.
I like the word think.
Yeah, well, it's basically a straight line, and the first 200 yards straight up sucks, but good footing is everything. You always want to walk to the yellow, this lichen. The lichen grows where there's less of this peat moss type soil. So usually where there's yellow lichen, it's more gravelly underneath, firmer footing, which is everything, particularly climbing. This is what it's all about. Bloody laundry. Sitting under a meat tarp. Eating beef jerky and listening to it rain. Wondering which part of your body is the most sore and hurts the most.
Think about that long and hard.
And thinking about the next climb. We did pretty good. We made it round trip, a little over 3 hours. So we did good. We were humping though. Figure it's a little over a 2-mile pack. Up and down 2 hills. Well, Moose, it's what's for dinner. What do you think?
I like packing with Billy Molls.
Yeah, boy. That's because we quit at 4 o'clock.
Doesn't get much better than this. Top notch.
Yeah, nice and smoky in here. Medium rare. I love it. Oh, we got a bottle of Tito's there if we get it packed out. As soon as we get it packed out. So that's our goal tomorrow. Have it back to camp before noon. Start partying.
Boy, an early day.
So now what are we up to, Dougie?
We're up to day 3 of pulling out meat out of the backcountry here, 2 miles away.
So how much did you pay to pack 100-pound loads across the tundra for 3 days?
It was good value. Whatever it was good value.
Yes, you're getting your money's worth. So we laid around in camp like 3 lazy bums hoping the rain would let off, but actually we got a little bit of snow in the high country there. So we're heading up over in the saddle. Last trip, hopefully. We got a rack of ribs, a hide, and a big old set of horns, and a drumstick off of a front shoulder.
And maybe a grizzly bear or a wolf coming back with us, hopefully.
I think we got a pretty good chance.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Hopefully your rifle's still there.
Yeah, hopefully grizzly bear didn't bend over his knee.
This is about as savage as it gets right here. Dang, that thing looks big. How is it?
Feels pretty good.
It doesn't look it looks pretty dang good as far as weight-wise, I'd say.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be leaning a fair bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, it wants to go to the right a little bit, but it feels pretty good.
Just so you know, I was going to pack that load, but I wanted to let you get a good photo op.
All right, thank you.
Thank God for packers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an impressive load right there.
Badass.
Doug's got a rack of ribs, and I got the hide. But thank you, Trevor. I think we can one-hand this one. All right, so tuck your heels back to your butt, as much as you can, basically. Then I'm gonna do one hand. 2, 3. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna make her. You think we're gonna make her?
I'm pretty damn sure we're gonna make it.
We're gonna make her. We just gotta cut through that saddle. She's a steep downhill. That's a little tricky. We gotta be careful with that. This stuff is slippery. That's where injuries take place. We'll have her. And it takes about 6 to 8 hours to finish Cape the Bugger. You gotta load them in the plane. And then moose hunting's a lot of fun. We killed the moose. The bottom of the hill you see behind me, right there. So we packed them up over top of that one, back down into that draw, up and over. Now we're topping out. Camp is right there. She's all down here from here, all downhill from here, Buena. Well, probably too tired to talk. I better pay attention. But I think we got this in the bag. I just got back. Trevor, I call him Moose, turned 22 today. Kid's a beast. Doug should be popping through any second. Think if I came out there and flexed, they'd mistake us for twins? Maybe. I'd like to think when I was 22 I could pack like him, but I'm not so sure. Maybe when I was 28. When I was 28, that seemed to be about my physical peak. Maybe 30 even. Been pretty much downhill from there. What did your buddy Ross tell you before you came moose hunting?
You'll never shoot a moose more than a mile from camp, I guarantee you. He lied to me.
We maybe should have listened to that advice. We made it, brother.
That might have been a good
Last
idea.
load.
Yeah. 63.
63. Holy crap, he's a big 63.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I figured he'd hit 65. Nonetheless, it's a big bull.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boys, I'd like to raise our glasses and toast to a great adventure out here and to a great hunt guided by Billy and awesome pack out with Trevor. And here's to Grandpa Molls, who we dedicated this hunt to. Otherwise, we just may not be here. But cheers, boys. Great hunt.
Cheers. Happy birthday, Trevor. 22! Good thing he's not 21, boy. We just have to go extra hard tonight.
That's pretty good.
So Trevor, what do you think of this Alaskan hunting?
It's a different, whole new world up here. It's pretty awesome though.
You're a Montana cowboy, Northwest Montana, guiding the Bob Marshall. What else do we need to know about you? You're madly in love with a girl named Maddie.
Yep,
So what are you thinking? You think you're going to propose to her when you get home?
probably.
You're going to take all this big tip money and buy an engagement ring?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Are you thinking so?
Maybe with some time, yeah, but it's definitely, I've had some time to think out here. And
It's on the radar, huh?
yeah,
Good for you.
Well, you've been together since you guys were like, what, 4?
pretty much.
Been together 6 years, I would say. It's time to think, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh?
It'll make her mom happy, I do know that. Oh, that's
she's
good.
putting the pressure in?
She wants grandkids.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't need you to do that. I think his face got red on that one a little bit.
She must really like you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're a likable
What's
guy.
not to like? Come on, the guy can pack a moose like nobody's business. Of course she's gonna like him.
Yeah.
No, she has an awesome family.
Moose, how many steaks do you think you can handle tonight?
5.
How many pounds of moose meat do you think you need?
2 pounds.
2 pounds?
2 pounds.
Yeah. Do you think you could do it, Duggar?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident Moose can put that down. I think, yeah, he's good for maybe 3-4 pounds, maybe.
That tree. Yeah, we got to get him eating some bratwurst. Yeah, see how many bratwurst he can eat.
Yeah, some Wiener Schnitzel.
Fellow cheesehead, Doug Kolterman. Trevor comes down and right away he goes right for a hind quarter, and it's like, man, that kid's got it. He's got what it takes. He reminded me of myself at that age, you know, and that whole time we were packing that bull out, I saw my young self, and I wanted to tell him what I wish somebody would have told me at that age. You know, I wanted to try to pump him as full of knowledge and experience as I could. Not so much on hunting experience or anything, but more life experience, really. And sharing that hunt with Trevor just made it extra special, you know. And the biggest thing that I was just trying to tell him was, man, whatever your dreams are or whatever your goals are in life, if you're confident you can achieve them, they're too small. You know, I told him, you know, my only dream in life was to become an Alaska hunting guide. By the time I was, you know, old enough to drink beer, before I was old enough to drink beer, I was able to do that. And man, looking back, it's like, set your goals high, because here's the thing. What you think you can't do, you're probably right. Along your path, people are going to come into your life that are going to help you with those things that you can't do by yourself. It's unbelievable how it works.
Along the way, you might fall or get stuck like Billy did. You just get right back up and you get on that horse and you just do it until you succeed.
And you know, everything in nature has a purpose. And when you're immersed in it the way one is in the Alaskan wilderness, you can't help but look at a little piece of tundra and an ant and a bug and an alder bush and, you know, tussocks. I don't know what purpose they serve, but it's something. And how is it that mankind isn't different? Clearly we serve a purpose, but we're all individuals. Each and every one of us serves an individual purpose. All right, what are we drinking to?
Okay, here's to new experiences, big bull moose, wild country, and good women.
Hey,
all right. All right, I don't know where they're
Tell
coming
what he's
from.
got on his mind, man. Jonah, when's the next flight out, man?
I think you got a packer. He's ready to go home.
Birthday boy.
So, we all have loved ones back home, but in the grand scheme of things, is there any place else you'd rather be?
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, I can tell you right now that, like, I love my wife and my kids way more than I'd ever think to like you guys, because, I don't know, you guys aren't really that cool, but I love being here.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I love being here.
I was thinking about that today, honestly. It's like, man, I wouldn't change anything except for, you know, being with Maddie.
Maddie back home.
Yeah, but in the same token, don't you think there's like some value to like absence makes the heart grow fonder?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be doing this, kind of doing your own thing, you know, away from her, and just
makes you appreciate her more when you get back home.
Yeah.
And your relationship with her, and
You get stronger.
you realize you get stronger from it all.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep, without a doubt.
Totally.
Without a question. I was telling Billy early on the trip, you know, in some video that, you know, I love my kids dearly, and I got a girlfriend I love dearly, but you need to step away as a man to pursue some of your other dreams, and it makes you a better man when you get home.
Yeah.
and it's very holds a lot of truth.
And maybe makes you realize what you have back home too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Totally. Yep, and so then it makes you appreciate it. So therefore, when you come home, like I know for me, I'm a better father and a better husband because I get away.
Yeah.
2-3 months out of the year.
Yep.
My wife would probably left me long ago if I didn't leave.
Yeah, we're almost there. That's cool. Big bull.
Yeah, baby. All right, Buana, get you the first. Look at that. Right there. Oh, yeah. Good? Woo! Yeah, that's pretty savage. Get them buggers over with. I think maybe we each take it in. I think that'll be wet. Doug, you look really concerned.
Yes.
You don't want these falling off.
Do you? Yeah, I don't think so.
Now tonight I'm gonna sleep.
Real good.
Yeah, 'cause once animal's down, I usually don't sleep good till it's out of my hands. I guess I still got the cape. Just about done with that. Gonna salt that area today, so. I think he's coming back. He's doing a spin to show you your antlers one last time.
He's
Ah, Jonah Stewart's one of the good ones.
there's a certain passion and a drive in a hunter that a hunter is out there for more than just killing. To me, shooting an animal is really just kind of a bonus to the trip, but to go out and have the experience, to experience these things I was talking about before with the rainbows or the snowshoeing in 4 or 5 feet of snow on top of alders, to go and see mountain ranges that a lot of other people haven't seen. That's the thing that drives the hunter back, I think, is that experience. To get into a Super Cub and to take off from a river and fly over untouched land and look down at the tundra and look at the mountain ranges, it's all part of that experience that, you tell people that and they think, like, wow, you're kind of crazy for wanting to go in a Super Cub. They occasionally crash, but it's the experience that that goes with that a lot of people haven't done, that I think is just, it's so intriguing. And there's so many aspects of the hunt up in Alaska that are intriguing that it's hard at times to talk to the person that doesn't have that interest, to tell them how magnificent it really is.
Girlfriend Mary, you said, is very conservative.
Very.
And she asked you if you're coming on this trip, the reward was worth the risk.
I immediately answered, no doubt about it.
And if you're a guy that loves nature, outdoors, humping up a hill, getting a good sweat on, and then you get to the top and you see this, that's all you need to make it worth it. It's like what my dad said about farming. If you plant a seed, if you till the ground, plant a seed and watch it grow and then pick it, if that doesn't stir something inside you, you'll never make it as a farmer.
Absolutely.
Same thing as a hunter. If something doesn't perk up and come alive when you see stuff like this, yeah, you'll never get into it. We're gonna climb up the hill, overlook the kill, hopefully catch a wolf on it. There's a wolf sign all over the place, so we know they're around. Maybe a grizzly bear. We'll see what happens. Lots of wolves in this country, so sooner or later we'll get a crack at one. Aim a little high. Are you on 350? Aim a little high. Tell me when you see him. Or just squeal when you see him. If you like it, take him. Squeeze it slow, right on his spine. Learned something there. In the back of my mind, I was thinking it's highly probable that wolf would have came back had we not shot. We'd just walking into the kill. I glassed it, said no, nothing on it. And then as we walked up a little bit further, about 50 yards away from the kill, was a black wolf, just kind of trotting out. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd have told Doug, just don't shoot unless you know you can kill him. Because I have enough, in my experience, they'll usually come back as long as they're not spooked, and I don't think he was spooked. But, and the same token, who knows, he might not ever come back, but that's a tough shot on a small animal. Looked like a fairly small wolf to me, but it was about 360, 370, that was the shot. And we weren't really, it was pretty hasty, so. But we might get another crack at him. We got 5 days. So we're just going to sit here and watch this kill every day as long as we have visibility, and maybe he'll come back. It wouldn't surprise me if there's others out here. Wolf population's really high here, so
starting to look like a boar's nest in here. It was nice and neat and orderly. Onion, meat, garlic. Just cleaned the pan, believe it or not.
Mary would not approve.
Yeah, the health standards. Probably not too impressive. There's something about the end of September. Last night probably got about, I don't know, 15 degrees, got cold. And you get this hard frost, the tundra's frozen underfoot. You got the frost everywhere and all the vegetation, a little bit of ice on the edge of the lake. It's like signals my migration, you know. Fall is over here in Alaska, it's time to go home. It's just something that's become a part of me now, and it just, as I get older, I just, you know, at this point in my life, I just can't imagine not being here in September, and just wonder when the day will come, or if it'll come, you know. But there's going to be one September where I'm not going to be here, you know. Going to be lots of Septembers, I guess, where I'm not going to be here, but that first one, I don't know when that'll be. Can't help but wonder, but for now, it's a signal that fall is winding quickly to an end, and it's time for a new season in my life. It's time to go home and get back with my family.
So in 2014, I was blindsided with a divorce, and after the divorce kind of happened, I asked my wife at the time, I said, so where did I go wrong? What happened? Where did we fall apart? And she had said that my priorities were screwed up, that I worked too much, I hunted too much, and I played too much softball. And I was absolutely guilty of all three of those things. I now that, you know, hindsight's 2020 and I look back on it, absolutely, like I was gone a lot. I worked a ton. I was working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks at times, trying to chase this dream of having this house, and it was, you know, an empty dream to have a big house. It was not the right thing to do for a family. It was very, you know, false on the outside. It was something that I thought my wife wanted, and that it would make her a happier person, or a happy person, but it really indeed wasn't the right thing to do from a family perspective, to work that hard and that many hours and take time away from the family, trying to obtain this empty dream, I'll call it. At the time, it seemed like it was the right thing to do, like it was trying to give my family this beautiful home and really put them in a better neighborhood and a better position, and it just seemed like the right thing to do, and I wanted to obtain that, so I was willing to put the effort into it and work as hard as I needed to make that happen. And I was able to make that happen. We built this big house, but found out that we weren't any happier in that big house than we were in any house prior to that. After the divorce, I went to a pastor for counseling because I was at the absolute low point of my life. I'd say, you know, fairly depressed. I wasn't focused at work anymore. I quit playing softball. I didn't feel like going hunting anymore. I just was kind of to myself and didn't even want to go out and see my friends. So I was going to see this pastor, like I said, for counseling, and basically he told me, he said, Doug, you know, God's got a purpose for everything in your life. And he said, even though you may not see it right now, this really tough time that you're having, this divorce, God has a plan, and there will be a positive thing that comes out of this in the end. And he said, you know, perhaps it's you taking your story and somehow letting people know, you know, what you did and maybe perhaps where you went wrong, and being a testimony to them to help them make their marriage better, to help make their family life better. And I always wondered, like, how would I ever do that? I'm not a guy to get up on a stage, and I'm not a public speaker. I always wondered how God would, you know, work through me to accomplish that.
I don't think it was a coincidence that Doug and I were put together. That's exactly what I'm struggling with in life right now, is trying to pursue my own dreams and make changes in my professional life, which as a result are going to have an effect on my family. That's hard. I've really been struggling with that. Am I focused on just doing what I want to do in life, my own dreams, what I feel God's called me to do, which is, you know, tell my story of hunting. Basically, yeah, just to share with people what my journey as a hunter has been, and to do that as truthfully as I possibly can. I've gotten to the point where I've got to share my faith. It's the only thing that makes sense. And having someone like Doug come in and just really witness to me with exactly what I'm going through in life right now, I was struck by the fact that, Billy, this is God talking to you. You've got to, you know, if there's a story here, this is it. And ultimately, just like Trevor, you know, coming along and we're trying to help him, is I've recognized when I look back at my life, the people that have affected me and impacted my life the most, they were Christian men. And that's what caused me to start reading the Bible and studying it. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know that I'd say I'm a lousy Christian, but I got a long ways to go. I'm a chichaco in Christian terms. That's for sure. And but I've got to share it. If I'm gonna share anything about my hunting experiences over the last 30 years and 20 some years of guiding, it's that we all fit into an ecosystem where we have something that is necessary for that ecosystem, for this world. We're all individuals. The Bible says that we are created in His image, in God's image. But we're all created differently. Well, that tells me that we all fit in differently. There's different people out there to help all of us, and all of us have our own unique purpose.
I think it's the message is that, you know, even though you have your activities and interests that you would want to follow and you should follow, and you have to go to work and support your family, you have to always remain grounded and remember that the main thing in life, well, number one is God, and then two is your spouse, and then your family. And if you prioritize those three things, then somehow God makes it work for you, where it all works in the long run. Your family works, and your marriage works. And so, you know, if I had a shot to do it all over again, I would still follow those three passions: running my business, playing softball, and hunting. But I would be way more attentive to my family life and my spouse, and just make my priorities straight: God, spouse, and children.
I think it's c'est la vie, partner. I've got to pack her up, so time to go home.
So I do think that God has a plan for everybody and everything in this world. And sometimes you question, like, God, why me? And why is this happening to me? And how is this ever going to be better for me? Like, why would you want me to go through a divorce after I've been married 24 years to this person? You love this person. You think that you're best friends. And I always envisioned myself being that guy that'd be married for 50, 60 years and, you know, walk off into the sunset and have a bunch of grandkids and live happily ever after. And perhaps his plan is that, you know, now that I can be a testimony to other people to make other marriages better and make other people realize what, you know, their priorities should be in life. And so, you know, unfortunately, I'm the guy that had a fall and go through the divorce, but perhaps maybe, you know, through this testimony I can help save a few marriages or get some guys with that were going through the same stuff I was going through with, you know, just being away too much and not being attentive enough, to make them realize, hey, you know, when I really think about it, what's really important in my life, what really matters, and what's going to get me to where I want to be that guy that's married 50 or 60 years and kind of walk off in the sunset, being proud of that. So I truly think, you know, like I said, God's got this plan, and sometimes you can't understand why he puts you in that position that makes it, you know, a really tough spot and knocks you down to your knees. But, you know, now I've risen back up and I've got a wonderful girlfriend, and my kids are awesome. I've got 3 great kids, and, you know, I'm looking forward to grandkids. My one daughter just got married, and so hopefully got some grandkids on the way, and I've been doing some planning for that. I've planted a bunch of apple trees, and I've got cattle and chickens, and I've got a tractor with, you know, a hay wagon behind it, so I can do all this fun stuff with grandkids someday. So life goes on, and things are definitely getting better for me, and definitely on the rise, and I'm feeling great now. I'm doing all the things I want to do, and I'm spending it with a fantastic lady and my kids that are just great kids. So I think definitely God intervened here and brought you and I together in mysterious ways, that we were able to do this together and share, you know, our stories together and make this hopefully a testimony to others. And I think our purpose here is to, you know, share the Word of God, be a testimony to other people in any way you can, and then to be a good person, to always treat others as you would treat, you know, as you would want to be treated, and be good to your neighbor. There's nothing better in life than having a good rapport with people and a good relationship and serving other people, and just it makes life a lot more enjoyable when you're not chasing money and when you're just serving and enjoying every step along the way. Your focus is just so much, the outlook is so much brighter, and there's so many great things in life that you can experience that have nothing to do with money.
The Christian faith is just like nature, in that if everything works together and everything does what it's supposed to do, it would be nirvana. It would be peace. Everybody talks about that peace of nature. That's the same peace that I believe we would have if we all followed God's ways.
Amazingly, when you follow what God says, it's amazing how complete your life feels, how fulfilled you feel, and how happy you become. It's just, I think that's definitely the purpose of God's Word. If you follow it, He guarantees you eternal life. If you're serving others and you're helping other people and you're making their dreams come true, it's more fulfilling than having anything yourself.
But meeting Doug and him being willing to share his story, I realized that's going to affect a lot of people. There's other people that have gone through the exact same thing that Doug has. And I just realized if I've got any type of platform to allow him to share his story, I had to do it. Particularly when he said, yeah, I would like to share my story, but I can't imagine how I would be able to do that. And there again, that was God talking to me, to us. And the thing is, I knew I would never forgive myself if I didn't give Doug the opportunity to share his story and be truthful about the impact that his story had on me. In John chapter 16, verse 33, Jesus says, "In me you may have peace. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world." Much like the wisest, oldest animals on the mountain, Jesus faced every opposition imaginable, but he never lost. Even to the point of his death, Jesus never made a mistake. Through all the campfires, plane rides, and long packouts along my journey, there's been many people who in various ways pointed me toward Jesus. Each of them fueled my fire to the point where I finally, openly hold the torch. Whether I live to a ripe old age or a grizzly gets me tomorrow, their time with me and my time on earth will have been meaningless if I don't offer that light to anyone willing to receive it. When the weather is good and the game is plentiful, anybody with enough ammo and time can be successful DIY. But hunt long enough and delve far enough away from the trailhead, and there will come a time when the storm of all storms sets in. The critters hole up in the timber, creeks freeze shut, and you find yourself in a complete whiteout. That's when every one of us needs a guide who's been there before. A guide who knows the way and will never leave us. A guide who's met eye to eye with every predator and never lost. What do you think there, 3-shot oldie? I think the good tracking snow. I think we just find us a wolf track and run him down.
I think we'll stack them up like cordwood out there today. Yep, I better bring an extra round or two.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figure the way I see it in these conditions, we're gonna be calling in a packer for all the wolves we're gonna shoot. Bring some blades, bring some packers. Think we solved the wolf problem in this area. That's my prophecy.
You're the hoser.
Doug, you look really concerned.
Yes.
You don't want these falling
off, do you? I don't think so.
People will take you more seriously if you get that toilet paper out of your zipper, though, Trevor. Seriously. Serious.
Whatever.
Yeah, most people wipe from behind, but I don't know. He does have long hair.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you look like twins, Doug.
Yeah, I figured so. Of course, I'm the better half of that, but...
Oh, yeah.
Think for yourself, but you also have to think for your children. It's kind of like grizzly bear hunters when you're 200 yards out of camp and you realize they don't have their rifle.
I knew I was going to get my chops busted over that one. Just a matter of time. And here I thought you were going to say something stoic.
That's about as stoic as I get.
This such a beautiful evening. I made the executive decision that round number 2 needs to be outside. This is my kind of camp. Just total disarray, chaos.
Moose meat hanging everywhere.
Stuff laying everywhere. Yep. All kinds of bear precautions we're taking here. We got scrap meat strewn about pretty much every possible, hanging off every bush. This is how we bear hunt in Alaska. You just hang 800 pounds of meat next to your tent and keep the rifle handy.
Hope for the best. Get it in close.
We were bound and determined a bear was getting into the tent last night. Yeah, you had 2 bears come into camp yesterday. One was me, the other one was a moose. Had some moose out in the lake splashing around last night. Yeah, what you gotta do is like take 1 pair of pants, 1 shirt, 1 underwear, 1 sock, and just roll it in that hide. Put it in a bag, and when you get home, put that on and go meet her.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then when she says, "What's that smell?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's smelled elk before, but she's never smelled moose before.
Oh, that's a major turn on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if she's a
Yeah.
camp cook, she'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
Moose, it's what's for dinner. I'll just slap it on, slap it on the pan. That's what we're eating tonight.
Pass it around
Put a
here.
little pepper on it. Start the fire.
Who needs a fire? Other than shooting the moose, what's the most memorable event of the trip? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Just hiking out in these hills and the scenery, the mountains, the view, fresh air.
What moment specific? Give me 3, 5 of the top specific moments in this hunt other than shooting the moose.
When you, when we were kind of deciding on whether or not to pursue the moose, and you turned and looked at me and just said, "Let's go." And that was probably the most memorable moment. I could just feel the excitement and adrenaline at that point. Other moments, when the wolf started cutting through the timbers and I was just about ready to pull the trigger, wolf stopped and kind of looked back at us. I went to pull, didn't have the safety all the way off, and then he tried a little bit more and had a second crack at him. That was pretty memorable. That'll be ingrained in my head. Missed him, but still glad that experience happened. Just to see that wolf was first time I've ever seen a wolf in the wild. Pretty cool. Let's see, the moose in the lake. That was very memorable. Coming over to the hilltop and there's a moose right in the middle of our lake that we're camped on. That was pretty amazing. Never forget that scene. Jeez, I think. Oh, when we're down butchering the moose, or you're skinning the moose, and all of a sudden I see our man Trevor the mountain man on top, the cowboy. I'm like, there's our man. I was so damn happy he showed up because I knew that pack out was going to be something else. But yeah, I was happy to see him way up on the hilltop. Gosh, that was great. And let's see, number five. Oh, the fresh moose steaks on the pan in the tent. After a long day out here, a cold long day, and you get that chef, whatever his name is, Pasquale,
seasoning
Chuck.
on there.
Tony Sachere.
Tony Sachere seasoning on there, and oh man, just looking at that fresh moose steak, yeah, and then kind of a reward for the whole deal, and it was, man, it was better than even expected. So, yeah, those are the top 5.
Awesome.
For more modern-day mountain man DVDs and digital downloads, log on to BillyMollsAdventures.com. Here you'll also find books, a wide variety of merch, and information on hunting opportunities with Billy. When he's not hunting, Billy travels nationally and internationally as a public speaker, sharing his captivating, soul-stirring tales of adventure by way of his one-of-a-kind, down-to-earth delivery at corporate and community events, Christian outreaches, and conservation organizations. Just like the Alaskan wilderness, no one leaves a Billy Molls presentation the same person as they enter it. Log on or call for more info.